My name is Rajan Sandhu, and this is my Capstone project. I named it the first surgeon in the family because this is my dream for my career. I am 16 years old, athletic, fit, healthy, and I love to not just learn but understand new concepts about science every day. Whether it is chemical compounds being released into our bodies by the foods we eat and what they do that affects our bodies, or it is the coefficient of friction caused by different types of tire rubbers and why some tires are better than others. Science has always been a passion in my life and will continue to be. There is so much that I would love to learn about our world and the biological matters that we live in and alongside in the form of animals. Some other facts about myself is I love activities that give you a thrill. I went bungee jumping when I was 7, and I have been snowboarding the steepest mountains since I graduated elementary school. I have gone scuba diving in the depths of the Caribbean and have ridden horses through the outbacks of Kelowna. I have enjoyed a very interesting life, and with no doubt I will have many adventures in the future. My childhood was amazing. I had a loving mom, an amazing dad, and an extremely close family, not to mention a large family. When I was younger, I was quite the handful. I was one of those hyper kids who would jump off the walls with the smallest amount of sugar. I was also noticeably annoying, and I'm not afraid to admit that. And now that I'm growing up, I can see why. A lot of my older cousins tried to hide in rooms away from us younger kids. And I would too if I saw myself bouncing towards me making the most absurd noises. But I'm proud to say now that I have bonded with my family a lot, and now I am one of the cousins who, alongside my older cousins, hide from the new, younger kids in our family. I guess time really does repeat itself. As a kid, I was very active. I played soccer, I did taekwondo, which I only quit a year ago from now. I had my black belt, and I used to attend swimming classes. My favorite games during elementary school were cops and robbers and manhunt. I was extremely well in my studies, and all thanks to Kumon, a tutoring business that I used to go to, but I hated as a kid. My favorite subjects were math and science, but Kumon also messed with my work habits a lot during my younger years. Work habits that truly weren't fixed until just now, when quarantine started. See, I was naturally gifted at a young age. I was so fast in math that my teacher would allow me to mark the other students' tests, something my mom didn't like, as she fought my teacher demanding I do harder tests, as I would come home and tell her everyone's test scores. I guess she wanted me to learn at school more, or make my time meaningful there. Or maybe it was just to make me quiet, as like I said, I was quite undoubtedly annoying. I was a track and field star at elementary school, and I dominated mostly any sport due to my height and limb length advantage on everyone. Some of my favorite sports, though, were badminton and volleyball. Speaking of my elementary school, I attended Kirkbride Elementary School, just down the street from L.A. Matheson, and some key family members that have shaped me throughout my life and continue to shape my future are my cousins, Karnbir and Chani, who are both brothers that are studying to become doctors. Chani is studying at UBC, and he is my main inspiration for my interest in UBC. And Karnbir was the first out of our family to start studying medicine. He is my inspiration for studying for medical school. Another key member of my life was my mom's brother Jorah. He used to live with me when I was younger, when he was attending high school. He used to attend high school at L.A. Matheson too, and he was my inspiration for attending L.A. Matheson. I wanted to be just like him, and if it wasn't for him, maybe I would have considered going to a private school. But due to his time at L.A. Matheson, like I said, I wanted to be just like him. Some memorable events that have curved me into who I am as a person and as an individual was getting a dog. When I received my dog, Blue, a blue-nosed pit bull, it taught me about organization and responsibility. Also, it gave me a reason not to be lazy, as he wouldn't stop barking at me if I didn't take him for a walk. Also, my master's at Taekwondo training facility taught me about many things, like the 5 tenets of Taekwondo: courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and to keep indomitable spirit. I keep these 5 words close to me, and I will never forget them, as I had to write many essays regarding them through all my testings for new belts. I also learned to be humble and appreciate the finer things in life, like the greenness of trees. Through my rough times in India, seeing the conditions that people had to undergo there. I also learned, though, by seeing those rough conditions, that wealth is nothing for happiness, and happiness is judged only by the beholder, which is you. As of my financial plans after high school, I am very fortunate and extremely lucky, as my parents will be paying for all of my educational expenses during my stay at University of British Columbia. But as I said, I do have my plans to work on campus. I also have stated that I will be living on campus. So it will be easier to work on campus. It would be more beneficial for me. I will have no problem adjusting there when I move in, as I already have cousins that go there. And that would be an amazing experience for me to be alone, yet not too far from my family. Also, the commute by car to UBC is only around 3 hours on a good day with no traffic. So if I'm ever homesick or missing my family, I can just come back and visit them in Surrey. Or I could even just stay with my extended family in Vancouver, like my dad's cousins. I could stay a weekend there and I would be good to go. Originally, that was my plan. Instead of staying on campus, I was going to stay with them in Vancouver. But after talking it out with my cousin that already went to UBC, we agreed that staying alone is an experience you just don't want to miss out on in your life. But once I go through all my schooling and I have to choose my profession, then we could start talking about what my other financial plans are for the rest of my life. Like how I'm going to be rich in the future. My first plan is, as a surgeon, I would like to become or specialize in becoming a plastic surgeon. I would love to own my own office where patients can come to see me, and that would be a great way to work, as I would be making a lot of money. And if I had my own office where patients can come to see me, that would also be, I believe, them paying a premium for me, as I would want to be the best. And the best surgeons do not work for free. But as I mentioned, to own your own surgeon's office, you would need to have a lot of money and you would have to be really good. I actually knew that I wanted to make this one of my plans when I went into my plastic surgeon's office when I was fixing my crooked nose and my breathing problems when I was 16, which was last year. Which, by the way, the crooked nose was a great conversation starter for 16 years of my life. But I hated not being able to breathe out of it. This would be quite expensive, but again, fortunately, I do have lots of family members who are willing to invest in me. But if that plan just doesn't fall through, maybe I just don't enjoy plastic surgery, I would like to become a general surgeon in one of Surrey or Vancouver's main hospitals, like Surrey Memorial or Royal Columbia. There I would see lots of actions of injured people, and I would be able to operate as often as possible. And I would love to do this because I would, 1, be helping people, 2, be making good money that could sustain myself for a long time, and 3, I would become a master of the human body, inside and outside. And I would love that, because who doesn't want to know more about the body that you are living in? Both plans I will consider in the future, and I have given them much thought, but I can still come up with new ones. As of now, I am taking things one step at a time. So right now, my main focus is to receive my Bachelor's of Science. Once I have that and I am in medical school, then maybe I will put more thought into my profession and my financial plans for after high school and even after university. For my passion project, I set out to learn more about cars, and what better place to do it and experiment with than with my dad's 1990 Mustang Fox body convertible. We have the original owner's manual, so I started off by reading it, then quizzing myself on the parts. Then I learned how to bleed the brake fluids and change all the oils and other fluids in the car, and also how to drain some of the other old fluids. I had some troubles, but my uncle is a heavy-duty mechanic, so he came over to help me and teach me. My dad wanted to keep the Mustang stocks, so my uncle allowed me to work on his 2006 Subaru WRX STI. I had to repeat the process of learning all the parts because the Japanese cars were different from the American cars. But it was easier since I recognized most parts, like the engine mounts were pretty similar, and most of the parts were used in both of the engines because all engines just follow the simple combustion rules. He let me put aftermarket coilovers on the car, which add a softer ride by improving the suspension. Some other improvements we did on the car is we changed the clutch plates, and at the same time that we changed those, we put on a new exhaust, as we had to remove the old exhaust anyways to change the clutch plates, so we decided to just knock down two birds with one stone. We also changed the tires and the rims. I got to learn what all those markings on the tires mean, and I learned new things that I never knew before, like now we have tires with a speed rating of H. That means they are fit to drive in speeds under 230 kilometers an hour. I never knew the letters stood for speed ratings before. And finally, he let me change the headlights. We swapped them for a pair of slightly tinted headlights. This was an amazing passion project for me, as I always had a love for cars, but I never knew how I would start working on them until now. That the Capstone forced me to jump into the deep end of cars and learn how to swim, metaphorically speaking. What I learned through my passion project is that the reason I love cars and why am I so fond of learning about our bodies is because they are both very similar in the way cars and humans both have parts that move us, and sometimes those parts can do erratic things that may cause them to need to get repaired. But the more you know about your car or your body, the better you can maintain yourself. So in the sense of you maintaining yourself, if you spend a lot of time with your car, it also becomes an attachment to you. And you realize this when you work on a car for a long period of time, where if the window has a single fingerprint on it, you are physically uncomfortable seeing it as if the print was on you, because the combustion reactions and gears of a car work in the same way our bodies break down foods for nutrients that fuel our muscles. The two are so similarly connected, and that is why I love both subjects. They both go hand in hand, and if I can learn the parts of a car with ease, I could learn the parts of a human body with ease. And the reason that I am so fascinated with our own bodies is because through learning about our own bodies, I can more well maintain my own body to improve my health for the rest of my life. Being honest, the Capstone was not much help. Ever since elementary school, I had my goals straight, and I had my priorities. Capstone was meant to make students realize their goals, but I already knew mine. I had mine realized since a young age. But the Capstone is just one of many obstacles I need to conquer in my goal to become the first surgeon in the family. I may not agree with it, but it does stand in my way. And every goal that stands in my way, I will pass with flying colors. Until I meet my goal, I will never stop striving towards becoming the first surgeon in the family.